Shot clock inside 10. Stewart, the leading freshman scorer in the ACC this year, off to Wendell Moore Jr., who's been playing some really good basketball in recent weeks. Misses that one, and the rebound down to Huff.
Little in FSU. That was in December. They've beaten Purdue. They've beaten Maryland. A couple of SEC opponents as well. So nothing cupcake about their schedule.
And this is an opportunity for Virginia to get their first win over a ranked opponent this season. 0-1 thus far. And
negotiables, and being excellent on defense certainly qualifies among those, but the post double is a staple for them to be able to do those things and draw on the whiteboard. Here's the line where you guys are currently playing, and then draw another line above that and say, here as well, it's been an admirable job from the front court defensively for NC State to limit the good shooting opportunities for Huff and Hauser, a combined 2 of 7 from 3 between them.
Absolutely, making sure you're aware of personnel, close.
Hellum's relatively quiet tonight for the Wolfpack, just 8 after he scored 23 when they met earlier this month. The shot clock has dwindled to 8, so Hellum's lets it fly.
PN. 2 minutes to go in the half. Allison, you have more on the Duke situation?
Well, certainly concerned for the Duke player that tested positive, but also for the Louisville team. But I can tell you that all of their tests from last night came back negative. They were rapid tests. And remember, the ACC uses a technology called Connexon.
And we're seeing Virginia starting to find its rhythm defensively. And right now, kind of a disaster for Clemson having to come off that and play this team. But more importantly, Clemson has to find a way to be able to get the ball in the basket, see it go in, because Jay Huff off to a great start, 7 points for him already. And not just getting it done offensively. Right now, Amir Sims on the offensive end not being able to find any success, and Jay Huff has been the primary defender on Sims as we see the two of them go at it on the block.
He leans in. That won't drop.
Samir Calhoun at Florida State, and he on the mountain biking team at Blue Ridge School. And Amir, sign language, I'm not sure if that was true. I mean, again, we see him throw a football 60 yards, but I asked.
Second fewest of his career, going back to a 2018 game. He was at Rice against Penn. So it's this bigger lineup from Virginia. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts the offensive flow as well. Huff stands straight up and turns away Funderburg.
Everything around the perimeter, good cut. You've got the ball screen, you can slip it, go to the basket, one-on-one in the post. Usually that's going to...
Murphy do a lot more of that as the season's gone along, attacking the basket, not making Kihei Clark the only playmaker on the floor.
Beekman, the freshman guarding Boeheim. Defense considered his strength, and there's Huff to block it. Second all-time in block shots at Virginia behind only the great Ralph Sampson, and no one's ever going to catch.
Then over there and opened up an opportunity for Justin McCoy to get offensive rebound, just couldn't corral the basketball.
Lob into Richmond. They were trying to post up Kihei Clark. Out to Gary A. He missed an open 3. Lead was 11, as we mentioned a moment ago. Syracuse has not trailed. Dolajai screening again for Boeheim. Gary A off the roll. Shot clock at 3. Dolajai needs to shoot. Didn't get it off. Good defense. McCoy at the end of that sequence for Virginia.
To a great start here, and you look at the numbers, shooting 44% from beyond the three-point arc, 65% overall, leading the ACC.
You think of a guy like that who's a shot blocker, all about defense, but you'd be wrong about that with Jay Huff because
Hauser.
Great job from Sebron there. Every shot that's been taken early on in this one has been contested from the pack. Engaged defensively, disciplined as well.
The patented Virginia double team comes over in the post.
Dolajai from the corner. Rebounded by Hauser.
Defend.
need a shot. Tough one by Dolajai. Hits the side of the backboard.
But they were switching everything, and then Jay Huff just went right at Jamin Brakefield when he got the ball in the low post.
You know, usually you do a Virginia game and it's always played at, quote, their pace. Does it feel like this one's at a quicker pace, or is it just that the ball keeps going in the basket? 5 assists already in this game.
Well, he's played a lot of really good floor games, and he's the best leader on this Duke team.
Won't go down for Brakefield, and down with the rebound for Virginia, Justin McCoy.
Back into this game, you talk basketball, you know everyone makes a run, but it's so difficult when you get behind to a Tony Bennett coach team simply because they take care of the basketball so well. And the way that this team is playing offensively, it's hard to make a comeback.
Way.
And you're leaving me after today.
Yeah, I have to get out of the bubble to my own bubble.
Reed off the mark, and that is the
Back-to-back three-pointers by the front court. Jay Huff knocking down the three from the top of the key.
He has been hot now, going back, 3 or 4 games now. As you mentioned, back-to-back 18-point games for Huff. That pass tipped and picked off by the Cavaliers. On the drive, and a pretty
Well executed from Coach early on.
An impressive feat in the winter months, to say the least. Yes, here's Jericho Helms driving the lane, putting it up for Manny Bates, who then recollects, and Helms, who is dangerous. 5:35 to play. NC State up 51-43 in a game where they led by as many as 14. Virginia's largest lead today has just been 2.
I've been a part of this system for a couple years, as great as they've been. They just aren't quite getting the expectation defensively here. Something along those lines, Mike.
A fair assessment of the way this game has gone today. The interior pass, Huff collides with Funderburk. They both hit the deck. Virginia and the 7'1" Huff in front of him. And that ball is Virginia's ball. With all the pressure of waiting, Moore has it bounce off his mitts, and the Cavaliers have the ball down 4.
1 minute to go in the half in this ACC tournament quarterfinal. First to 4, now 3 games today. Dolajai into Huff, the shot blocker, and it rolled off. Controlled.
Jay, how about the game Wendell Moore is having? He's really the primary facilitator tonight for Duke. He's got 6 assists in the game.
Jeremy Roach he was in the corner, and that was a set out of a horn set for him to post up Kihei Clark, and Clark stayed on top of him, and there was good pressure on the ball. Shot that, people would be saying, well, that's fantastic.
And he came into the game shooting 46% from 3 on the season. Moore with a strong drive, and Huff, who's a terrific shot blocker, got him. Jay Huff is 4th all-time on Virginia's shot block.
About 2 of the perennial powerhouses in the ACC, especially over the last decade, but yet out of the gates a little bit slowly this year, trying to find some momentum as the season moves along.
Opportunity, one of the nation's best shot blockers with the denial.
Ian Manny Bates, top 2 shot blockers in the ACC.
Not sleep on Moore's bunnies. My man's got bounce.
Funderburk was there for the screen. Moore down the lane. Huff turns him away.
He's got the ability to be an excellent defender.
Reed inside, and all alone was Yurkatan, but he
Do you allow the corner shooters to have a look, or do you take away Sam Hauser? We've seen adjustments back and forth by both these coaches, and Tony Bennett's adjustment has definitely helped his offense here in the second half.
And Huff's been terrific. Another double-double, second in as many games against the Orange this year. And now he blocks Girard's shot, and only 3 on the clock for Syracuse. Good anticipation by Girard. Guerrier made 1 out of 2 free throws after he missed his first 3 of the game. Now 1 for 4. Virginia by 1, 11:20 to go. In a high-level game here at the ACC. Girard, after it was kept alive, and Guerrier. Little pick and roll. Guerrier blocked by Huff.
Acker and Durham to look at some of the best ACC teams at the moment. You're watching one of them. Virginia, second in the league. And a look at first half stats and highlights, which over the last few minutes have gotten much better for Virginia as the Cavaliers have gotten hot and are on an 11-1 run at the moment to make it a 6-point game. Back to the basket, swiped away by Manny Bates.
Talk about one of the best shot blockers in the country. I don't think I've gotten that one in this broadcast. Much respect to Manny Bates and the ability he has to protect the rim as well.
No, it's remarkable to think that you watch.
He's between basketball games.
How about that?
He was a great scout last year for Virginia. And Watson has it blocked away. Huff scored 505 points last year. Huff did. Got bigger and stronger with each passing year. There's another block.
Does a nice job over 2 again.
Two-handed. Not really in traffic, but there was traffic in the area. That was a great play.
Jay, when you first saw him a few years ago, and again, he's a fifth-year senior, and sometimes it takes big guys longer to develop, but did you ever think...
Tough move there, but it won't drop for him.
And Obi, you mentioned it. The fact that Virginia doesn't turn the ball.
Almost collapsed on itself after Helms went for the steal and missed, but great recovery defense from NC State. Sebron drives, he's turned away, rejected by Huff.
In Florida State that can go out there and beat a Baylor, can go out there and beat a Gonzaga, can go out there and beat a Michigan, a true national title contender.
The beauty of the tournament, you know, as Duke learned a couple years ago, even a team out of the American Conference can be dangerous. So
the case, they play at a very deliberate pace. In fact, the slowest tempo in the country, but that does not mean they're not a good offensive team. They are.
And they can really operate toward the end of a clock. Little low cross screen, little on big to get Jay Huff into the post.
How about the left-hand jump hook?
How improved is he from last year to this? He shoots in.
And we mentioned right off the top of the show, Virginia's still a very good defensive team, but we're used to seeing them first, second, third in the country in efficiency. They are 23rd this year. And again, that's really good. They're about 345 teams. But Virginia's actually a higher-rated team on KenPom, Jay, offensively. They're 13th in offense and 23rd.
A little bit quicker, but it is that the ball's just going in the basket. Both these teams are shooting extraordinarily well to start this game. It's fun to watch the ball go in the basket, isn't it?
It really is. You and I have been lucky. We've had some games up in the 80s recently.
So it's the announcer jinx, but you don't get any credit for the ball going in. Significant challenge against Virginia at home.
They would clearly not be a tournament team right now. Worth mentioning, I guess, if you're a Duke fan, that Joe Lunardi had them in the next 4 out this morning. And then based on results today, things moved around and they dropped out of the next 4 out. But point being, if they were to win this game, do they...
Here's Thomas Wold to 10 side, 10 seconds to shoot. Inside to Jay Huff. Here's the redshirt senior backing his man down, trying to muscle his way to the rim, and does, and it drops. Here at Charlottesville. And yeah, the shooting percentages get a lot of the attention, but he does a lot of the little things well too. Rebounding, defense, his counter partner Jay Huff having a great afternoon too.
That's been beaten to death about other teams and other circumstances in the league over the past week, but I don't blame any player who says I'm done playing this season, whether it's for their career or just for the end of the season, or if a team has said, it's simply not worth it to us to not play anymore, because if you live in a dorm or you live in a hotel and you have to have your
first few minutes laying out how you have to get your offense versus Virginia. Open floor opportunities. In the Duke win over Virginia, they got 14 transition points. There's got to be a thought process from the pack. Let's get out early, not allow this Virginia defense that is stifling at times to congeal in the half court.
Bates on Huff, and the turnaround is nearly impossible to defend at his height.
Griffin had just 3 points in the first half on 3 free throws. He was fouled shooting a 3. Dolajai there to contest the Murphy shot. Huff kept it alive for UVA.
That's to deliver the basketball, ends up making the tougher pass to the only guy who could finish it off with Gary underneath the basket.
Dolajai has 4 assists today. Clark. Wold does 10 side for 3. That one popped out and kept alive by Huff.
With the ball for Virginia, Trey Murphy III. We mentioned a transfer from Rice. And he is from Durham, and he was friends with Justin McCoy from Cary, North Carolina. McCoy helped to recruit Murphy when Murphy announced he was going to transfer. Great little touch pass from Hauser into Huff, and the Who's are back on top.
Here's the lick. I don't like Instapot. That sounds like something Walton would do from a dispensary.
Clark with a scoop, it won't go down. Obviously a busy night in the truck for people building graphics like this.
What a dunk by Huff.
These guards need to continue to try and play downhill and attack this Virginia defense, see if they can get stops. They haven't been able to do so early on in this one.
Success feeding the post as well. Here's Clark on the drive, and Huff stuffs it back through. Emphatic finish from Jay Huff. We saw some great stuffs at the rim.
Job of getting pressure on that shot. And a couple of them for Matthew Hurt have been in and out. You know, you're expecting him to go in, but not much has gone in the second half. Duke shooting under 30%. Virginia 43%. That's about as easy as it gets.
Wow, Hauser into Huff for the reverse slam.
The defender flying at him, just poised and completing it.
And tied yet again. Clark up top to Huff.
Beautifully done.
The rush, shooting the basketball early, one of the things that Coach Brownell was concerned about, especially, you know, them not only being off, but not being able to get in the gym and practice. Didn't resume practice until Wednesday. So you're seeing the rust offensively from the Tigers early.
Huff got himself inside and got that one to drop the 7-footer.
It's Towson. And this is the way they're shooting it right now. Virginia doesn't look like they're going to slow down much at all as Jay Huff continues to find himself in the SportsCenter highlights.
And after he shot those 3 threes in a row to try to get to a career high 30 points, missed them all, and then they came out wide open. Hauser. Braswell reacted late.
The fact that the guy under the basket happens to be a first-team All-ACC performer this year, and Sam Hauser, nice find from Jay Huff, but doesn't take much to find Hauser.
Gerard, a standout quarterback in high school in Glens Falls, New York. Won state championships in basketball and football in high school. Hauser again alone in the middle of that defense.
Break, having to pause their program due to COVID protocols was not their favorite choice of opponents to be able to go against the Wahoos, and you see why early in this game.
A little backdoor cut there and up and in by Clark for 2, and Virginia
defensively as they have been, and there's some truth to that. However, Virginia not being as good as they have been defensively still makes them probably, if not the best, one of the
65-32 the Cavaliers. Beekman underneath takes the hit and drops in 2. Reese.
11 turnovers for Virginia. They average under 9 per game. Clark trying to get a little space. Huff for 3. Lets it go. It's good.
He can move around and do some damage.
5 seconds. Huff triggers the 3 and hits it. Jay Huff right before halftime cuts the Georgia Tech lead to 4. Jackets buzzing. They're on a 12-2 run right now. Huff trying to cut into it, and he does. Lines up a 3 and drills it.
Close to the vest by the UVA faithful. Ever since Tony Bennett took over at the University of Virginia, shot clock violations are cheered for when there are fans in the stands. And, of course, you always cheer for the big threes. Long break is really not in the favor of Brad Brownell. He knows how difficult it is to play against this team when you're in rhythm. And Clemson was definitely in rhythm before they had to go to the break. And speaking of in rhythm, Jay Huff is definitely in rhythm. We mentioned in our open.
This is reminiscent of the first matchup where there were long stretches, 3 minutes, sometimes more, where NC State was able to hold Virginia without a made field goal, and a much needed one right there. They hadn't hit one in almost 4 minutes.
By Huff.
He's a good shot blocker.
He is a good shot blocker. And another guy who's really improved his offensive game over the years.
Huff flips it up, soft touch.
He's going to be able to drive around a lot of big guys that decide to come out and guard him, because he can knock down a perimeter shot as well.
Well, that's a good start right there to get the defense shored up.
Huff can really beat you outside or do this. His footwork excellent.
7'1". He used every.
Virginia has not led in the game. Huff guarded by Dolajai. Huff drives. Strong move to the bucket by Jay Huff.
And Mike Schmitz, ESPN draft analyst, gives him, and Cunningham really can play so many different positions. He's kind of a positionless talent, got great vision, big enough to shoot over people.
And he's been in study hall to bring up that grade in defensive IQ. He's a solid B+, but I think with some more study hall time, he can get that up to an A.
Yeah, his basketball GPA, trying to increase that as best he can. But ready now for the start of the second half of our Sonic Blockbuster, with the Blue Devils looking for a signature win, quality win, big win, whatever phrase you want to use. And they are up 3 on a top 10 team in Virginia. Look at Huff stepping in and follows up his own miss.
Boy, how about that? I'm not sure whether you would call that a Euro step or what. It was a slow step, but deliberate.
And we talk with Coach Bennett about Kihei Clark and his role on this team. And, he says that what he's doing right now is really a combination of his first 2 seasons. His freshman year, his first year, if you consider UVA terminology, he basically was a backup point guard who played alongside another ball handler in Ty Jerome.
Point that North Carolina right now is playing Marquette at home.
Yeah, it's been a wild season, and my thought always goes to, like everybody's, the health and safety of the players, but also just their mental state at this point. It's taxing for them to be dealing in isolation, continuing to play through and forge on, and a lot of credit goes to these student athletes.
Between Virginia and Marquette combined 1,650 career points. That's reminiscent of the regular season game. Clark to Huff, and Huff fouled at the rim.
The ball movement, making the extra passes led to the improved offense. How about that extra pass going up top, and Jay Huff rocks the rim.
And look at this read by Kihei Clark. Again, miscommunication by Georgia Tech. Heads up play. That's why he's one of the better point guards in the country.
We watched over the last decade where they're stifling on defense.
The Clemson just scored their first point in 10.5 minutes, making 1 of 2 at the foul line to make it 18-3. Up spinning and dunking. Can't stop that for the 7'1" senior. An easy dunk.
And Casey Morcell, nice find to Jay Huff, who's patient, takes his time, and finishes over the top of Clemson's defense, had no answer.
Third between these 2 teams. That was the last time that Virginia lost here at home. They're 9-0 on home floor this season, winning by almost 15 points a game. It doesn't seem like this game is going to be decided by that many. And Jay Huff gets an uncontested look at the rim. Although I still do have questions about the one meal thing. We'll settle that off the air. We've got Florida State Miami coming up next. That game just about to get underway here on ACC Network. Huff
to start this game.
Well, Tony Bennett told us last night he thought his team played very well. Jim Boeheim said, I don't think it was as bad as the score indicated. It was 81-58. Huff scores on the second try and the foul. Time about his dance, and then he kind of got out of the scrum there and did the fist bump, but he said he got dizzy from bouncing up and down, jumping up and down in the middle of that celebration.
Well, he said he's been there before. In a celebration, he got hot in the middle. He felt the temperature raising, so he knew it was best for him to get out of the scrum, get away. So he's been very comfortable here thus far in the 2 games of the ACC tournament.
Well, they've said all along he's a really good shooter. He started the year 0 for 12 from 3, and good for him to working his way out of it. Dolajai, Huff spins to the bucket and gets fouled.
By a tenacious Helms. They look inside for Huff, who's had success off that block today. And he gets clipped as he goes up. Funderburk and Bates both in the area. That's the first foul called against the Wolfpack.
But a lot of that is effort and recovery to get out to guys, running them off the 3-point line. Kihei Clark, it becomes bigger on him to get into that lane and open things up like on the last.
Good momentum and energy moving forward.
Terps up 4. S.CA, back to you.
No.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Jay Huff at the line makes the first of 2.
Now, I've got to throw it out to America, okay, because I've already S-Dot. That's who you are to this point. However, you know, Sean Carter, Jay-Z, that's S-Dot. But there's also Sean P. Diddy, a.k.a. Puffy.
Jay Huff, who's the best facilitator and decision maker aside from Kihei Clark on the roster.
Foul is on Funderburk. We got a great men's lacrosse doubleheader for Saturday right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Number 8 Notre Dame hosts Robert Morris in South Bend at 4 Eastern, and then it's number 2 Virginia taking on number 9 Syracuse.